disguise you. There's Hana right there. How's it going?
What are you doing, buddy?
I'm gonna search you for drugs. That's what I'm doing, buddy.
Okay, buddy.
No, I'm not your buddy. You're a drug dealer. Okay, get out of my lane. Get going.
Hey, when you talking to my buddy?
Get out of my lane, Hona.
What are you doing here?
I was down here and I just came in to grab my buddy. That was it.
Who's your buddy?
The guy that you guys just kicked out of the alley.
Well, how is that guy your buddy? The only way you would be friends with him is if he's getting you to move dope around for him.
Tell your friends the heat is on.
Welcome to Vancouver's downtown east side, where an extraordinary police squad battles to keep control of one of the toughest beats in North America. It's the Chinese New Year, but just a block away, in the downtown east side, it's business as usual.
You sit here all day, every day. You never eat food because you're involved in the drug trade and drugs kill people. How do you feel about that?
Ken Smith and Andrew Penner speak with an addict who deals drugs out of a convenience store to pay off her drug debts.
How can I help you get out of the drug trade?
How much do you owe?
How much do you owe? You owe a couple thousand?
How did you lose that?
Every person dealing drugs down here has a story, right? But we want all you guys out of here, one way or the other.
This kind of epitomizes that we're swimming in needles and drug use in the downtown east side.
Veteran sergeants Toby Hinton and Mark Steinkampf try to fix a needle disposal box in a local rooming house. But it's too full.
Get yourself fixed up, man. Seriously.
Constables Tyler Urquhart and Mike Ball stop a man from smoking crack in this alcove.
Golf 18 clear over, checking back on foot. Oh yeah, that's what I wanted to check. Yeah, this is the lane right here. Mr. Coffee. And it would be right here.
Mike and Tyler are examining the back of Mr. Coffee, a suspected drug hub which straddles the border between the downtown east side and Chinatown.
They'll basically have addicted users working for them that will be supplied at the coffee shop and will come in and around into the lane, and we'll deal in this lane. They'll only be given small amounts, and it'll be gone within, say, 5 minutes, and they'll have to go back to the store and reload, get more, and then come back. So we're going to do it over the next few days and just gather more and more intel, and eventually hopefully get a search warrant and shut the place down, and that'll be it.
Yesterday we found this 21-year-old punk with a big-time attitude. Thinks he's invincible, is sitting in there wearing the puffy jacket and the sweatpants, drinking bubble tea in Mr. Coffee.
Hanging out, waiting for his shipment, or waiting to pick up his cash.
5 minutes later, we pop out the lane and he's hanging out with a bunch of hypes in the back lane. So we're thinking that they're probably using Mr. Coffee to stash their dope, and I'm sure that's how they're distributing it. So we're thinking maybe somehow establish 3 eyes.
Steve Addison and Dan Petrie recruit a team to help them with surveillance of Mr. Coffee.
Do you guys think you can just get like a front eye and a side eye there?
Yep. Giddy up.
Excellent. Let's go put somebody in jail.
What we've been trying to do here is just pick up on the pattern of their behavior to help us formulate our grounds that are hopefully going to get us a search warrant so we can go in and start kicking in a couple doors and taking the dope out of there and putting some people in jail.
For JJP to approve a search warrant of a premise, we need to establish that there's going to be drugs there. Today we're checking the buyers that are buying from the dealers that we've confirmed come out of Mr. Coffee.
Lane's already picked up. I got Gina here in the lane, 4 to 5 buyers.
Gina is a local addict who police believe is being used by Hona to deal drugs from Mr. Coffee.
She seems to be pretty much a full-time worker in this lane.
Yeah, Mona's not out yet. Where is he?
Unless he beat us. This guy showed up on the radar, you know, slinging dope and, you know, beating up defenseless people. And it'd be nice to be able to put him in jail.
Heads up, Hona's in the block and into Mr. Coffee.
There we go.
He's talking with, looks like Mrs. Coffee behind the counter there.
I got 1 buyer approaching and looks like 1 deal here. Okay, buyer away and Gina coming out of the lane. Turning on Pender now, eastbound to you, Jordan.
Copy, south on Carroll, 3/4 block. Left turn northbound into Mr. Coffee. She's meeting with Hona. And she's out.
Right turn northbound, UCB on Carroll. Over to you, Tom.
Tyler has the eye, continuing northbound. Approaching the lane. It looks like I got a buyer here.
We've got girls who are dealing in the lane, and then they're going into this coffee shop. They're not going in to buy bubble tea and Vietnamese subs. They're going in to drop off their money, to pick up their dope. We know they're keeping it in there. The key for us is to time the execution of a search warrant so that we go in there when they have the dope.
Well, let's just hope that, you know, it pans out.
Can somebody just give us like the Coles Notes version of what the significant stuff from today?
Steve and Dan debrief their surveillance team.
You saw Tammy dealing in the lane.
Yeah.
Then Tammy walks into Mr. Coffee, throws a bunch of money on the counter, and walks into the back with Mrs. Coffee.
Tammy is another addict dealing for Mr. Coffee.
She went into Mr. Coffee at the end of the night and took the bag off of her shoulder and passed it to Grandma Coffee.
The information we have is that the Viet's family shows up. Shortly after that, the addicted workers show up and they wait for their name to be called. Mrs. Coffee hands them some coke, some heroin, and sends them out in the lane to sell. So ideally, we're set up on it. We see the family show up. We see Gina and the other worker go in. We see Hona go in. And then we walk in with our search warrant and hopefully catch them dirty.
Steve applies for a search warrant.
I have to sit down and actually cobble together all of our source information, our observations. And the information we have is that they're using marginalized and addicted women to traffic the drugs in the lane.
Addicted dealers earn very little. Toby Hinton talks to Leanne, an addict who's worked for several bosses in the local drug trade.
At the end of what they call a shift, my pay would be like 2 rocks and a flap of heroin.
So 2 rocks and a flap of heroin, which would be what,
equivalent to $30
$30
on the street, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so you could be at that for a long time, right? If it's low.
All day long is $30. Right. Yeah. You know, you come up short, you had to do a round of sexual favors, you know, for the bosses and his friends. Most of the bosses have more than likely grown up with watching their moms get beat, so hitting a woman is nothing big for them.
You think it's easy to be an addict down here?
No, it's extremely hard. But again, it's my choice.
Mm-hmm.
Steve and Dan have obtained a search warrant for Mr. Coffee.
So, welcome to Project Barista.
They explain the plan to the takedown team.
Right now we have confirmed Gina and Tammy. They're the dealers. We'll let them take their load, do some dealing in the back. We're gonna wait for one of the girls to go back in. Hopefully he's in at the same time.
Hona is kind of in and out.
Yeah.
We'd like to time it so that he's in. So when you guys go in there, you should have Mrs. Coffee, Hona, and one of the addicted workers in there.
All right, guys.
All right.
Thanks. See you, sir.
Time, which is around 10 o'clock, right?